Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video we're going to talk getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to take a look at the Idoneth Deepkin, and in particular the Fuethan sub-faction of the army. In this video we're going to go through, talk about what makes a Fuethan army special for the Idoneth Deepkin, what its special rules are and what it gives us on the tabletop. We'll then take a look at how we can start this Fuethan army with some units. We'll then look to expand upon those initial purchases by looking at some other units we can bring in after those first purchases to expand upon the army, and then finally finish off the video with a little sample army list for you to use as some inspiration for creating your own Fuethan Idoneth Deepkin army. And so, Fuethan, or what exactly does it give us? First of all, it's an Idoneth Deepkin sub-faction. You can find this in Battletome Idoneth Deepkin. Now, the cool thing that this gives us is, first of all, it gives us access to a unit called a Bloodthirsty Shiver, or rather, a grouping of units in our army. These are formations of 3 Achillean Alapexes, and while they are sort of bought as a unit, bought in 3s, you can choose to move them about as if they were individual models. Now, the cool things you get with this Bloodthirsty Shiver, they are just pretty standard Achillean Alapexes at that point, but at the start of the combat phase, you can pick 1 unit from each Bloodthirsty Shiver in your army. If you do so until the end of that combat phase, if the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with that unit's Ferocious Bites is a 6, the attack scores 2 hits instead of 1. On top of that, if the attacking unit is within 1 inch or more of other friendly units that are Achillean Alapexes from its same Bloodthirsty Shiver, you'll do 3 hits instead of 1 or 2. So pretty cool stuff there, meaning you're just going to get a ton of extra hits coming out of this particular unit, which is really nice. Just going to really make, the Sharks or the Alapexes the big thing for the army. So as long as you've got them all within 3 inch and close combat near each other, from the same Bloodthirsty Shiver, while they can, operate independently as you need them, they certainly work best when they're all grouped together and you've got the 3 going into 1, and one of them supercharges its attacks. Now, of course, to look where to begin, the Achillean King, I think, is the place to start. First of all, he's an Achillean unit, so this means we're going to get access to all the Achillean abilities, and as well, he does do a lot for other Achillean units, of which the Alapex are. So he's going to have his Achillean Paragon rule, which is really the big thing. Add 1 to the hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly Achillean units whole within 9 inch. So he's going to really, first of all, buff up, those 3 going in, and then they're going to get exploding 6s on one of them. He's also got the Lord of Tides ability, where once per battle, at the end of your charge phase, you can pick up to D3 friendly Idoneth Deepkin units whole within 12 inch within this ability. And if you do so, you're treated as having been part of High Tide. So you've got 2 High Tides essentially coming out of this model now. You've got your army one, and then you've also got the one the king can call. He can call it D3 units, hopefully getting, at least he would be getting the Alapex you've chosen to put the buff on from the Shiver, but he could also potentially get all 3 of them to get affected by High Tide as well. Now, speaking of Achillean Alapexes, they are pretty solid. Obviously, the Bloodthirsty Shiver is where we want to look, but just Achillean Alapexes in general. You've got 8 wounds, 4 up save. Now, you've got a couple of different weapon options for your shooting attacks. You can have either the Razor Shell Harpoon Launcher, which has 4 attacks at 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage D3, or the Rotarius Net Launcher, 1 attack at 3 and 3, no Ren damage 3. However, the Entangled rule applies to the Net Launcher, where if this attack scores a hit, the target unit cannot make pile-in moves, which is really nice. Now, you've also got their combat attacks. So first of all, Barbed Hooks and Blades, 6 attacks, 3 3s, Ren 1 damage 1 is nice, but the Ferocious Bite, where that Bloodthirsty Shiver rule is going to come in, is 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, Ren 2 damage 2. The Bloodthirsty Predator rule applies to them as well. We add 1 to the attack characteristic of the Ferocious Bites if we win 6 inch of any enemy models that have had any wounds or mortal wounds allocated to them, or if it's in 6 inch of any enemy units that have had any models slain in this turn as well. So this is where your shooting attacks can really come in. If your shooting attack can do a little bit of splash damage to someone, you can get in there and get that extra attack on your models as well, with those Ferocious Bites, just further buffing them up. Where to look to next, though? And I think the next place to look is continue on with that Achillean theme we've got in the army. You definitely have Morsar Guard, which I think are a really cool option. They're known as offensive eels generally by a lot of the community. Now, they have a cool thing where they can do a once per game mortal wound bomb, so they can dish out some mortal wounds once per game when they get into combat. And they also get extra damage when they charge. However, I do feel them being the combat variation, they are competing with the Alapexes. So I think Ishland Guard, for me, are my favourite of the two Morsar Guard in the army for at least Fuethan. So what they're going to do is they are going to give us a defensive bunker. Ishland Guard have a cool ability where they never take any positive or negative modifiers to their save, except when they charge, they change their save characteristic to a 3+ rather than a 4+. So they're changing the characteristic, they're not receiving a modifier, so they will get their bonus when they charge, obviously changing to a 3-up. Now they still pack out a decent amount of damage on the Ishland Guard. You've got 3 attacks at 3s and 3s, round 1 damage 1, and 3 attacks from the eels themselves at 3s, 3s, round 1 damage D3. So a decent amount of damage still coming out of them. We then look to the Ishran Soulscryer, and I think he's a really interesting option for Fuethan. He's going to be able to bring units alongside him in reserve, which is really cool. So come on the edge of the table, give them some charge bonuses, and he's also a priest, so he's able to take cool things like heal and or curse as well, which can do some mortal wound damage, which is pretty much all this army really lacks. Now, the last thing to consider is, I think, the Eidolons of Mathland. They're going to give some nice bonuses around to the army. You've got 2 different variations of the Eidolon. You've either got the magic one or the combat one. The aspect of the sea is really cool, so he's got his Storm Shoal ability, which the other one does as well, for a nice 5-up built-in ward. Your friendly Idoneth Deepkin units can have a bravery characteristic of 10, and he's also a pretty cool wizard with some really nice utility spells. The aspect of the Storm is the combat one. He's going to provide his Drench with Hate ability, which is going to add 1 to the wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly Idoneth Deepkin within 12 inch. So he's going to be able to, further boost up those Achillean Alapexes. We potentially can get like +1 to hit and wound, exploding 6s on one of them. You can get a lot of bonuses on these Alapexes and really push up their damage. And so here we have our sample army list for you for the Idoneth Deepkin, obviously going with Fuethan. Actually, it's the Mortal Realm we've chosen. There's no reason to pick any one of these. They are just called little narrative bits. But this actually is a sub-faction that's from Actually, which is really cool. There's some nice narrative you can go read about in the battle tome for them. Grand strategy we've gone for is no place for the weak, meaning our opponent won't have any battle line units left, which is, pretty good. We are going to be trying to kill those battle line units, and we hopefully can get them off the table. Now, no triumph, because we are a perfect 1,000 points as well. Now, we've gone for the Achillean King as our general, bladed polearm on there, and the command trait, Unstoppable Fury, where if you're affected by the High Tide on the Tides of Death table, for each enemy unit within 3 inches of them, you can add +2 to your attacks, which is really cool. Now, we've also given him the artifact, the Arcane Tome. We've got the spell on him, which is going to be Arcane Corrosion for -1 to an opponent's rend. And our mount trait is going to be Void Chill Darkness as well on the model. What this one's going to do is just make subtract 1 from hit rolls in close combat. Now, the big reason we've got the Arcane Tone on him is because we've taken the Emerald Life Swarm in here as well. This is going to be good at making sure we can keep healing those Alapexes up. Because they do only have a few wounds, so being able to have them, at full health most of the time is going to be nice. 3 Achillean Morsar Guard to join us in battle line for the army. And then we've also got 3 Bloodthirsty Shiver Achillean Alapexes in there as well. Those Bloodthirsty Shiver Alapexes are in the Bounty Hunters, meaning they're going to get +1 damage against any units that are going to be a part of any Galatian veteran units. 1,000 points on the nose, no reinforced units and no allies. 43 wounds isn't bad, a little bit on the low side, and 5 drops as well for the army. If you've been playing with Fuethan in the Idoneth Deepkin army, let us know how you've been going and what you would do down in the comments below to start your army. That's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, drop us a comment down below in the comments section and let us know what you enjoyed about the video and what you'd like to see more of on the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here we have at Sinful Gaming, you can do so on our Discord server, which is linked in the video's description. Also linked in the video's description is our Patreon and YouTube members, where you can go to help support the channel and allow us to keep doing what we're doing. As a special thank you to our Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Greenskins Gaming, Kenny Lower, Alder and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ant, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek and Giappi390. And to our YouTube members: Greenroots Gaming, Kenton Young, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, and Monty's Tabletop Terrain. And lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Thank you all for watching. Once again, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now, everyone.